So my name is Susan Winkelstein, and I'm a funeral director with Chicago Jewish Funerals. And I'd like to welcome everyone here as well as those who have joined us online. We're about to begin the services for Natalie Berman Erber. Officiating is Rabbi Barry Schechter.
Mizmor David, Adonai, mi yagub yolecha, mi yishkon, behar kodshecha, holech tamim, ufoel tzedek, v'dover emet bilvavo, lo regal leshono, lo asad rehu ra, v'cherep lo nasa, al keravo. Nivze beinav nimas, v'et yirei Adonai yechabed, nishpal ara, v'lo yamil, Kaspo lo natan ben neshech, v'sholchad hanakilo lakva. Aseile lo yimot li'olam. God, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are as a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, "Return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood where we are going." You redeem the soul of your servants, God, and none who trust in you shall be desolate. My dear friends, we are here for a sad and very difficult occasion to say goodbye, which is always one of the most difficult things that we can ever do. We are saying goodbye today to Natalie Berman Erber, the daughter of Oscar and Lee, who has gone to her eternal rest, and leaves behind a family and friends who are, some are here, some are online. We have here her daughters, Elena and Diana, and her Brian, her grandchildren, Edward and Lua, her brother Larry and his Brenda, and I should mention, of course, the late brother Steve and his Carol, who is with us, and your family, your families. I don't know, did any of you want to say anything? Well, I'll carry on then. I've spoken to a few of you, and you told me about Natalie. She was born here in Chicago. She went to college first in Illinois and then in Boston. She lived in many different places. She lived in Chile. She lived in California and San Diego. And you've told me about her life, which really was a struggle, a life of difficulty. We're talking about a person who was extraordinarily bright, wonderful mind. When we spoke, Diana, you were telling me about what she had done, and I've learned, and speaking to others as well. She learned Spanish in college. She lived in Chile and came back, and her Spanish was now so fluent that when she worked for Social Security in San Diego, she wasn't just working for Social Security. She was being an interpreter. She was translating. She went to law school in San Diego. She went to night school. She got jobs. If they didn't work out, she got another job. So this incredible determination. And she got a law degree. And I think, Diana, you said she actually passed the bar exam, right? Not the first time, but she passed the bar exam. So she's now a qualified lawyer. And then she comes back to Chicago, and now she gets a degree in education. She gets a master's degree in education. And she teaches for a while. And as I said, she was clever and she could be witty. She played the piano, she sang, she played a little guitar. I don't mean a small guitar, I mean she played guitar a little. And she was also, when she was young, she was strikingly beautiful. And with all this, as I said, her life was a struggle. I would say a struggle with herself. I mentioned all these achievements, any one of which would be impressive. To get a law degree, to do night school, to get a master's in education. All these would be, any one alone of these would be something wonderful, something to be proud of. And somehow there was something within her that would cause her to succeed in the sense of, say, getting a law degree, but then not practicing, doing something else, almost as though there was something in her that caused her always to search for something else, to be dissatisfied with what she had achieved. She had relationships, but in the same way, they would often end. And the tragedy, and I've just been talking to you about this, the tragedy is that she was aware of this. She was aware of this. There are people who are difficult in many ways, but they're not aware of it, so they stride through life. The only people who suffer is just anyone who's around them, but they are fine. They just march through. But she knew. She knew. There was, as I say, there was a struggle. As you mentioned to me, Larry, there was a spark there. And Diana, you said, and both of you told me, both of the daughters told me, she said she loved you. She said, I love you. And it was there, it was true. But as I say, there was this, she was embattled. She told you that being the mother was the best thing she ever did. She told you how proud she was. So she could say it and mean it, and mean it. And yet somehow, I really wish I could say something to ease the feelings that you have. But I said one thing when we were talking, Elena, when we were talking. Whenever we lose someone, under any circumstances, even under relatively good circumstances, never losing someone is never good circumstances, but compared to what we are dealing with now, today, what you are dealing with, there are always feelings, or almost always feelings of guilt, of difficulty. Could I have done this? Could I have done that? Could I have done more? I should have done more. I should have done this earlier, and so forth. And we talked about forgiveness. Elena, you talked about forgiveness. And forgiveness is not an easy thing. It's not easy to forgive others. But the most difficult person to forgive is yourself. That is the most difficult person to forgive, is yourself. On Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, on the high holidays, we talk about forgiveness, reconciliation. And I always tell people it's very difficult often to ask for forgiveness, but it's even more difficult to forgive. It's not an easy thing. And so I would ask you, if whatever you're feeling now, and I think I talked about struggle and mixed feelings that clash, and I know you have these feelings now. It's a time to forgive. In traditional Jewish burial ceremonies, people actually call out to the person who is being buried. They ask them for forgiveness. I've seen this at funerals. And I think that's very, very appropriate to ask for it, to imagine that it's been given, and to forgive oneself. Because as I say, she struggled her whole life, but now she is at peace. She is at peace now. Her struggles are over. And we can look back and go through everything, but the aim, what we should all try for, is for you to have some measure of peace. We're going to say in a few minutes, we'll say the Kaddish, the prayer that we say after we lose someone. And the last verse of that, which is also the last verse of the Amidah, of the silent devotion, and which you may know because there's a song, it's Oseh Shalom Bimromav. He who makes shalom. You know what shalom is? Peace. Right? Oseh Shalom Bimromav. He who makes shalom, he who makes peace above. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. May he make peace here among us. That's what the verse says, but I always like to add something else. Not just peace above, and not just peace among us or between us, but peace within us. That cannot be arranged sometimes. It takes time. It takes time. And sometimes to find peace within ourselves, we have to engage with others. So I would say that to you at this very, very difficult time, as I know you have emotions that clash. It's not simple mourning. It's a complex feeling. But with time, we have a saying in Hebrew, Ma she'ya'aseh hazman, lo ya'aseh haseichel. Some of you may know the word seichel means sense, common sense, mind. What time can do, the mind cannot do. So we cannot instruct ourselves. Now I'm going to find peace. That doesn't happen. But if we allow sometimes time to do its work, sometimes time can soften. To use another metaphor, if we have a lot of noise going on here, the sound is there, but as time goes on, it's less strident, it's less invasive, it's quieter. It's quieter. And I hope and pray that will happen. That will happen for you. And that you will be able to go on with your lives in a way that I would say of her, in her deepest heart of hearts, beneath all the other stuff that was there, she would want you to do. So, I say of her, Tehei nishmata tzurura b'tzuror hachayim. May her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. And to her I say, Natalie, lechi b'shalom, shalom, peace. Go in peace. I usually say it in Yiddish as well. Geh in Frieden. Go in peace. Peace. That's what she craved all her life. She's at peace now. I'm going to read the 23rd Psalm. If you have these do you all have these? If not, I can give you one. Do you have one? Here. Would you read with me, please? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me, come on, you can join me. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We're going to recite some prayers now. We usually stand for these. If you can, please stand. If it's difficult, don't. And could I ask those of you, the three of you who are wearing the ribbons, if the bottom of the ribbon, if the horizontal part of it, just do a little tear out in the middle there, or something to help each other. There, and I'm going to say a blessing with you, that will save you from stuff of us. Very good, anyone else who's joined me. Did you, by the way, did Natalie have a Hebrew, a Jewish, a Yiddish name at all that you know of? No, okay. It's okay, that's okay. El Malay Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hametzeim Nuchan Yechona, Tachat Kanefei Ashkina, B'mahalot, Kedoshim Motarim, Kezohar Rakia Masirim, Et Nishmat Natalie Bat Oscar Vali, Shehalacha Leolama, Bavur, She'anachnu Nodrin Itzedakah, Biad Haskarat Nishmata Began Eden Tehei Menuchata Lachein Balarachamim Yastireha Beseter Knafav Leolamim V'yitzeror Bitzrorachem et nishmata Adonai unachalata V'tanua b'shalom al mishkava V'nomar Amen. God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, unto the soul of Natalie Berman Erber, the daughter of Oscar and Lee, who's entered eternity and in whose memory we offer charity. O God, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. And now we will conclude the service with the Mourner's Kaddish, which is on the back of your booklets. I will say it with you. If you can, please join. If not, you can respond. One of the responses is very, very simple. A few times we say the word ve'imru. When we say ve'imru, then you say amen. We say ve'imru, you say amen. If you know the other responses, please join in those too. So I will begin. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei rabah. Bialma divra chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei. B'chaye chaun u'v'yomei chaun u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'izman karev ve'imru. Everyone, Amen. Yehi shemei rabah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. And now the verse I mentioned before. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. He who makes shalom, peace, bimromav, above. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. May he make shalom, peace, here among us, between us, but also within us. Amen. I just have one more thing to tell you, if you are interested. My synagogue in Skokie is opening up in a few weeks, but we are still having services on Zoom. If anyone is interested, we have services on Friday night and Saturday morning. The Friday night I recommend, it's shorter. If anyone wants to come on this Friday night, before we say the Kaddish, whether you're there or not, I will mention Natalie's name. If you want to come on, you can join in the Kaddish, or you can listen, or you don't have to come on. But if anyone is interested, I'll be pleased to send you a link. The service is at 8 o'clock Central Time, Chicago time. So before I go, please let me know. And if you give me an email address or a phone number, I will send you the link, and you will hear her name mentioned, and then we will say the Kaddish. So I want to wish you well after all this. Give my best wishes.
The family has requested that memorial contributions go to the Chicago Public Library Foundation, and that information can be found inside the service folder you may have received on your way in today. And for those of you who have joined us online, that information is also on our website. And we'd like to also encourage everyone here, as well as everyone online, to go to our website so you can share your personal condolences and stories of Natalie for the family to see. Thank you. This does conclude the service.